Good morning, I'm Rebekah Castor.
And I'm Noah Eagle. Thanks for starting your morning with us.
Let's kick things off with the squeeze. Outrage has sparked across campus this week following the discovery of a video showing offensive dialogue between members of the professional engineering fraternity Theta Tau. While CitrusTV will not be airing the video, you can view some of the quotes on your screen right now.
The video was released Wednesday night and contains students making several racist, homophobic, and sexist comments. At one point, the men also made fun of people with disabilities.
Although students were only able to watch the video at the conclusion of Wednesday, campus became aware of its existence Wednesday morning. And taking a look at our timeline, the events began after Chancellor Kent Severud sent out an email to the school community.
In the email, Severud stated that the university found out about the misconduct earlier that day. He went on to state that the university's Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities immediately suspended the fraternity, and the situation is currently under investigation by the Department of Public Safety.
And going back to the timeline, at around 1:30, Dean of Hendricks Chapel, Dr. Brian Conkle, sent out a follow-up email to the campus community. His message encouraged students to come to a gathering at Hendricks Chapel at 2:30 to discuss the ongoing events.
Chancellor Severud, DPS Chief Bobby Maldonado, and SA President James Franco, as well as Dean Conkle, all spoke at Hendricks. After they spoke, an open forum took place where all members of the campus community were able to express their feelings as well as ask questions about the incident. One student who spoke out at the event said that after the event that we all need to feel uncomfortable to grow.
Because at the end of the day, you know, it is like we gotta overcome these challenges. You know, we have to do these conversations. If people feel uncomfortable, that's good, because if you don't feel uncomfortable, you're not gonna grow as an individual. You know, like you're not gonna grow. And the first step to changing is to admitting that you're in the wrong. And it really saddens me as a Greek that, you know, we have organizations that are promoting racism, promoting hatred within our community, you know, and I really feel uncomfortable by that, because that's not what my work stands for, and that's not what my council stands for, you know.
The event at Hendricks was followed by a university senate meeting at 4, where they changed their meeting's official topic to discuss the Theta Tau incident. The chancellor spoke here as well. And following that,
I guess I'd say that what has happened today should shake people up in this room, because if this is who you think we are as a community, we should be really troubled.
And following that, several students took to social media to voice their anger, leading to the trending hashtag, "Where's the video, SU?"
Many demanded that the university release the video and were unhappy with how the situation was being handled. At the time, rumors were spreading online regarding direct quotes from the video. However, nothing was confirmed.
Around 6 p.m. that night, protesters gathered outside the chancellor's house with signs demanding actions. Many held signs criticizing Theta Tau and asking for the release of the video. The protest was organized through social media, and the students marched from the chancellor's house to Hendricks Chapel.
Many students attended Hendricks at 7 p.m. as part of an open dialogue hosted by the Student Association. SA President and Vice President James Franco and Angie Patty sent out an email announcing an event earlier in the day after the initial gathering at Hendricks at 2 p.m.
At the gathering, many students spoke up and expressed their discontent with the lack of inclusiveness and acceptance at the university. Several students used various stories from their time at SU to share their sense of fear.
Now, various student leaders lead the discussion, including James Franco, Angie Patty, and SA Comptroller Sierra Batten. Dean Conkle was present for part of the event as well.
And finally, at 9 p.m., the student-run newspaper The Daily Orange released the video online, allowing students to firsthand view the misconduct that led to all of Wednesday's discussions throughout campus.
Although the release of the video was the conclusion of the events on Wednesday, it was by no means the conclusion of the outrage sparked across campus. On Thursday, the SU Facebook page for an organization called Recognize Us SU became active. On Facebook, the organization describes itself as the collegiate social movement started at Syracuse University to combat the systematic oppression of minority students.
And moving along the timeline, around 2 p.m., Onondaga County District Attorney William Fitzpatrick announced that no criminal charges will be filed regarding the incident, stating that stupidity is not a crime.
We now have CitrusTV reporter Greg Bradbury outside the Theta Tau house to talk more about what's been going on. Greg, how you doing out there?
Yeah, guys, so at 2:24, the national branch of Theta Tau released a Facebook statement about the events that took place right behind me at the Theta Tau chapter of Syracuse University. Now, the statement says that they have no tolerance for the actions that happened. However, they did make sure to say that it was not a hazing-related incident. Instead, they wanted to say that it was a parody skit intended to make fun of another brother in the class. Now, despite it being a skit, they said that it is no excuse for the events that took place, and you know, they were really sorry about it all, and they do not tolerate that type of behavior.
So, Greg, being that Theta Tau is an engineering fraternity, how has the engineering school been handling the situation?
Yeah, so at 4:30 on Thursday, the school announced that on Friday from 12 to 2, classes would be canceled in the College of Engineering and Computer Science. Now, that was so that students could attend a mandatory forum the following day in the dining hall. Now, at this forum, several things would be discussed, including the steps moving forward, and the dean of the College of Engineering and Computer Science actually committed to students six steps. Now, on your screen, you can probably see that, you know, many of these focused on promoting diversity training and trying to hire a more representative faculty. Now, on Wednesday at the 2:30 event at Hendricks Chapel, many students spoke about how they don't feel represented in the current faculty administration at Syracuse University. So that was something that the dean of the College of Engineering and Computer Science really focused on in her commitment to the students. Now, later at 5 o'clock, U100 held a meeting to discuss their plans for Admitted Students Day, which would happen on Friday, that being yesterday. Now, they gave tour guides a brief rundown of all the events that took place, as well as some questions that might come up, whether it be in information sessions or tours that took place throughout the day. Now, if something like that did come up, they would talk about it as a skit instead of you know, anything hazing related. And they also would talk about how the university handled the situation, whether it be the Greek life audit that James Franco mentioned on Wednesday, or, you know, Theta Tau already being suspended and whatnot. And then to round out Thursday's coverage, at 6:10, Chancellor Kent Severud sent out an email to the campus community, and he called the behavior, quote, a painful wake-up call. He also called for a top-to-bottom review of all Greek life that takes place here on campus, and also discussed that there will be mandatory training moving forward for faculty as well as students to promote diversity here on campus and make sure that everyone feels welcome in the Syracuse campus community. With that, I'm Greg Bradbury reporting live outside of Theta Tau chapter here at Syracuse University. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Greg. Now, as we mentioned earlier, hundreds of potential students were set to come on campus on Friday for Admitted Students Day, and at 8 a.m. Recognize Us SU hosted a sit-in at Shine so admitted students would see the protests.
The protesters chanted and held up signs as admitted students and their families entered Shine. Chancellor Severud also came to the event to address students in person, telling students he hears their concerns.
You're young, and I am deeply concerned. That's not what you want to hear. I know you want concrete action. I am working on it. I can't say more than that right now.
Now, the Chancellor was not the only person to make a statement to the students. The Theta Tau chapter of Syracuse finally released an official statement apologizing for the language used in the video.
The fraternity stated that they cannot apologize enough for the pain, sadness, and fear that the incident has caused. They continue to say they are not a hate group and that Theta Tau is not a house full of bigots or those willing to tolerate it.
Now, back to the timeline. At 10 a.m., the Office of Residence Life sent out an email to all students living on campus housing next year. And the email stated that all RAs and student leaders have to undergo training focused on diversity, inclusion, social justice, and creating a welcoming environment.
A few hours later, Chancellor Severud spoke at the One University Awards. This is the second year these awards have come to SU, and they are meant to celebrate members of the Syracuse community for making a difference in the world.
The Chancellor spoke to an audience at Hendricks Chapel, stating that no matter your background, you're all orange.
And the conclusion of Friday's event, Severud sent out an email to alumni acknowledging the current situation. In his email, he also included the list of actions the university is taking, in addition to Theta Tau suspension and the ongoing investigation.
One of these actions includes requiring all Greek and student members to participate in implicit bias training and inclusivity training as well.
And Morgan Trau is here in studio to discuss the video's impact on Greek life and how Theta Tau is only a pattern of fraternities being suspended this academic year. Morgan?
Thank you so much, guys. So how does the Greek community feel about the video, and what are their thoughts on the effect of it? I talked to students in the Greek life who say that this paints fraternities and sororities in a negative light. Junior Marcus Cook says when one Greek affiliate does something, it reflects on all of them.
We all kind of feel like we were let down by them because we know now that the public and the media is going to display it as Greek life did this, when really it was just one house that did this. But I think like me, as well as most Greek life, is going to be like very ashamed that they saw this video and won't stand by anything that they said.
Chelsea Siegel is a sophomore who says another problem is that people are just going to blame Greek life for this racist rhetoric.
They're not the only people in the world making these comments. That's just a small-minded way to think.
The societal issue is addressed by Alyssa Schwarzbart, who says the chancellor should use this as a teaching point.
I think that he needs to expel everyone who was involved. I know that it might be harsh, but if he doesn't, then it's just going to keep happening.
But senior Michael Lerner thinks there's another way to deal with those involved.
I think that ignorance can be cured like a disease by education and diversity. I mean, whatever they did, I think that they deserve what's going to come to them, but I think they can learn.
There's a general consensus within the Greek community that education and awareness need to be raised in order to combat prejudice. Michael adds that being silent is the worst thing someone can do in this situation, and the chancellor making an initiative to have all people on campus, faculty included, take implicit bias training is a good start of trying to mend the feelings in the community. Greek life has been in the spotlight even before the Theta Tau incident. 3 other fraternities were removed during the 2017-2018 school year. The most recent was Sigma Alpha Mu, referred to as SAMI, suspended just 3 days before the video came out. According to the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Affairs, SAMI violated the Code of Student Conduct after they had an investigation on hazing. Alpha Epsilon Pi, known as AE Pi, was also suspended this year under unclear circumstances, but officials say it does not revolve around hazing. They plan to appeal the decision. Delta Tau Delta, known as DELT, was suspended earlier this year for multiple violations, and hazing was stated as one of them. Theta Tau suspension has been the most public, as being the only one the chancellor made statements about, but community members are wondering when their official suspension details will be released. Until then, they're going through a comprehensive investigation. Back to you.